So last night, Major League Baseball announced they're going to do 16 teams to make the playoffs in the 2020 season. Now, I get where they're coming from because it is a shortened season, 60 games. I guess you want to give everyone a fair advantage. Let's say a team that's really good like the Dodgers or the Yankees kind of struggles in these 60 games. They'll still make the playoffs even finishing in second place. So I get it from that perspective. Overall, I wasn't too big of a fan of it, and hopefully it does not stick. But we'll go over what exactly is going to happen here. So, 16 total teams will make it. It's 8 from each league, I guess we can call it, National and American League. So, basically, the top 2 teams from each division, the top 2 teams in the NL East, the top 2 teams from the AL East, and the NL Central, and so on, they will make it. And then the 7 and 8 seed is basically the remaining 2 best records. So, there will be 2 teams that finish in third place in basically 2 divisions that are going to make the playoffs, which to me, why are we rewarding teams that finish in third place in a division? I don't know. I mean, there's been some years where a third place team puts up a good season. Like I think sometimes in the AL East, like, the Rays or the Red Sox would put up a good record, or even the Yankees. I think back to the Yankees in 2008. They had a pretty good record. They finished in third place. They had like 84 wins or so, but they didn't make the playoffs. So there's an instance where maybe okay, but there's teams that are going to get like 76 wins, 74 wins. I know it's not going to be in a 60-game season, but you know what I mean, and still make the playoffs. So for me, I hope this format doesn't stick because we're just rewarding bad teams. And obviously, the MLB is going to do this because of money. We know that. Like, that's the same reason the NBA has 16 teams to make the playoffs, because of money. And the same reason that the NFL expanded to more playoff teams this year, because of money. And I don't think that's the right thing to do. Like, I think the MLB playoffs is good the way it's set up. Like, right now, it's basically set up for 5 teams from each league to make it. We have this great, play-in wild card game, which I thought was a great idea. It makes things a lot more exciting. My Yankees have been in 2 of those games, and they are very exciting. Luckily, they won both of them, but still, they're very exciting to watch. So I like that idea, but now we're just making it like more than half the league is going to make the playoffs. And, it'll still keep the really, really bad teams out of there. We won't see the Tigers probably, or like the Orioles and the Mariners and stuff like that, but still, I just think there's going to be a bad team that's going to make it, and they're definitely going to upset a good team, because if you run into a really good pitching staff, or a team that has 1 ace, even 2 aces, like I'm trying to think of an example, like, let's say a team like the Dodgers runs into the Mets, right? A 1 versus 8 seed, right? The Dodgers are the 1 seed, the Mets are the 8 seed, but they have Jacob deGrom. I mean, I know the Mets have Syndergaard and maybe Marcus Stroman out now for a while, but let's say they run into Jacob deGrom and a good Mets bullpen. I mean, who says that the Mets bullpen and the Mets starter Jacob deGrom can't beat the Dodgers? Because playoff baseball is so much different from the regular season. Like, there's a reason I love a team like the Brewers and the Twins, but a reason why I don't think they can win a World Series. I don't think they have the pitching to survive in the playoffs, but they have the hitting to make the playoffs for sure. So for me, obviously playoff baseball is so much different, and if you run into the wrong opponent at the wrong time and face 1 ace, like you think back to Madison Bumgarner in 2014, the guy changed the entire series because of how dominant he was, then things can happen, and sometimes the better team won't advance to round 2, which would suck. So basically, the first round of these playoffs are going to be a best out of 3. The better and higher seed will have home field advantage, which I guess, I don't know if that matters now because there's no fans, but I guess it's a more welcoming environment for that team. So basically, it's going to be the 1 versus 8, the 2 versus 7, and then the 3 versus 6, and so forth. So that happens. It's best of 3, and as I said, if a good team runs into a good pitcher, it might not be a good ending for them, which would suck. So divisional round is best of 5. So I mean, that is kind of more fair. I think it's always been that way. I think the wild card round has been always best of 5. If I'm thinking about it, no, divisional round's always been best of 5. Then the championship series is best of 7. So I mean, this whole format is going to take some getting used to, but I do think at the end of the day that sometimes a good team will run into a not so good team that has maybe 1 or 2 good pitchers, like 1 ace and like really good bullpen, and like they might get screwed because of it. So we'll have to see if that actually happens, but I guess I see where baseball is coming from. In a shortened season, you want to see teams that deserve to make it actually have a shot to play for the postseason. So in that standpoint, I get it. But overall, it's going to take some getting used to for sure. So let's talk about how tough it is for a team to actually win a World Series during this format. So they're going to have to basically get through 4 different rounds And the thing about baseball is anyone can win. That's kind of why I love it. There's also the same thing with football. I feel like any team that makes the postseason in football can win a championship. Like, look at the '07 Giants, look at the Eagles with Nick Foles when no one expected that to happen. So that's what I love about those sports, different from basketball. I mean, in basketball, we know basically there's 3 or 4 teams every year that have a legitimate chance of winning a finals. But for baseball, anyone has a chance. So if you're going to win a World Series this year, you have to get through this first round of 3, which is going to be pretty tough. So best of 3, you have to win that, obviously. Then you go to a best of 5 in the divisional round. Then you go to the best of 7 in the championship round, and then you have the World Series best of 7. So you're playing a crazy amount of games here, and if my math is correct, you could play a total of, would that be 14? Then we have 19, and then we have 22. You can play a total of 22 games in this postseason, which is a crazy amount. So I guess they're going to make them earn it, and I kind of have mixed feelings about this, obviously, but if this whole thing's a success, then I guess they'll stick with it. But I don't want to sound like I'm an old person here, but I kind of like the way things were. I don't feel like there was any need to change it. I felt the same way about the NFL playoffs. I thought that was formatted perfectly. I've always thought that in the NBA, too many teams make it. I thought it should have been top 6 teams maybe. But when more than half the league is making the playoffs, at that point I'm like, is it even a reward to make the playoffs at that point? Obviously some teams aren't making it, but if more than half the league is making it, you're not really in an elite group. So for me, it kind of just I don't know. It makes it less important to me. So I don't know. Leave your thoughts in the comments about this new playoff format. I definitely have mixed feelings about it. I feel like I won't like it because if a team like my Yankees gets into this best of 3 series and they lose, I'm trying to think a good team, the A's or the Rays, who are good teams, but they have really good pitching, obviously. If they lost to a team like that in a best of 3, I'd kind of be annoyed by it, you know what I mean? So let me know in the comments, do you agree with this format? Do you think it'll work and all that type of stuff? And thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.